So I'm gonna do a rant today. Let's see here. See if I can get this set up in the perfect spot. So I was just thinking about seasons. Seasons that we go through. Some of this might sound, I don't know, overdone, or like you've heard it a lot, especially if you've been to church and things like that, like, oh, there's a season for this, or, you know, I'm going into a season of rest or whatever. But it's fall, it's October, it's the end of October, and it's starting to be actually a little bit chilly in the mornings and in the evenings and at night. During the day, it's still been like 70s. So I've been on a kick lately of really thinking hard about food and food freedom and the stuff that you put in your body and on your body and how it's affecting you. So I want to rant about this idea that we eat the same way and live the same way all throughout the year with no changes, right? Like, we observe the seasons. We're like, oh, it's fall. I like to have my pumpkin whatever, spice latte or chai tea from Starbucks. But like, that's cool and all. And in the springtime, we like to hear the birds and whatever. But it's a very passive, like, it's a very passive way to live through seasons, right? So on the other hand, or I guess an alternative to that, what I'm advocating for during this rant is truly living based on your season, right? So take food, for example. If you get, let's say you go to the grocery store for your food, like a moron, just kidding, I go to the grocery store still. But let's say you go to the grocery store for your food. And in July, in the middle of summer, you go and get some tomatoes and you pick them out, or maybe you go to the farmer's market or something, whatever. You go and pick some tomatoes and you take them home and you slice them up, or maybe you just take a bite right out of it. That is juicy and beautiful and tastes amazing, right? It's got a tomato flavor, right? Now, picture going to Walmart or whatever supermarket and getting a tomato in February, right? February. And to bite into the same tomato, and people always say it tastes like cardboard. I think it tastes like cold, nothing, right? Like it's got a vaguely tomato taste. It doesn't taste like cardboard. Cardboard tastes probably not very good. It tastes like paper. But people always say cardboard. I don't know why that's a thing. I guess it's just a trend to say that tomatoes taste like cardboard. Anyway, it doesn't taste very good is the point. Everybody can relate to this because most people have, if you have taste buds, then you've taken note of this. So bottom line is, what I'm talking about is live truly, like actually live in the season that you're in. So in springtime, so think about the rhythm, right? It makes you more connected with the universe or the world that you live in, to act a certain way in spring because of the things that spring offers, act a certain way and live a certain way in summer because of the things that summer offers, act a certain way in fall and act a certain way in winter and live that way, right? Based on what the world is naturally geared towards. So, for example, things grow in the summer. If you're in a normal temperate climate or whatever, let's say you're in the middle of West Virginia or Maryland or anywhere. Summertime, springtime, you plant your seeds. You maybe even start them right before things start to get warm. Maybe you start them in like a greenhouse or something like that. You start your seeds, plant them in the spring. You've got your first harvest in the late spring maybe, and then you're harvesting your crops all throughout the summer. You plant summer crops, you plant late crops like whatever. So what happens is they produce, like, let's take tomatoes again for an example. I've heard this. I have not personally experienced it. I've grown tomatoes before, but what I hear is that they grow a certain way and they grow a certain pace. Like, you're used to an amount that your tomato plant is producing for you all summer, all spring, summer, whenever they grow. And then right before, like, as it turns fall, right before the first frost, apparently, it's like the plants know what time of year it is. And so right before the first frost, they start kicking it into high gear and pumping out extra fruit. So you get like double the harvest leading up to fall. So then you get this idea based on that, where you're like, okay, we know that winter is going to be barren. So what we should be doing is observing the way of the ant, toiling all year long, and saving up and storing up and being strategic and prudent with our food and with our stores, maybe canning or whatever. Store it up, and then boom, fall hits and everything is like booming, right? The garden is booming. You got extra, more than you could ever eat. So you settle down and you work, and you turn that into something that's gonna last. You can it, or you preserve it, or you maybe put it into a ferment or something like that, right? Then whenever winter comes along, assuming, let's take us back to the olden days, assuming that you're not necessarily going to be, you'll be able to get milk from your family dairy cow. You'll be able to get whatever, you'll be able to, but basically you'll be living on what you have stored, right? So you should be eating in winter. That's why we have Thanksgiving, right? Because the harvest is plentiful. You've got a bounty like you haven't experienced all year. So you are doing things in fall that you wouldn't do the rest of the year. In summer, yeah, you're eating because things are pretty good. In spring, you're excited for the warmth. In winter, you're eating your preserves, so you're eating a lot of soups because you've turned your tomatoes into tomato paste, or like stewed tomatoes, and you canned them. So you're eating a lot of like soups and stews and bisques and all of that. And so fall, though, you're doing the fall things. You're eating, you're eating the way that fall is geared to be. You're living fall in such a way. You're living in fall in such a way that it's supposed to be lived, right? So you've got this bounty, you're canning, but you've got the Thanksgiving bounty where you spread your table full of all these goods, and you've got your turkeys, and you've got your man, what I was gonna say tomatoes. What is it with me and tomatoes? It's like some sick thing with me. No, but you know what the real sick thing is? It's a sick thing with you guys and with society to live the same way all year long. Like, what? Oh yeah, I eat tomatoes all year long because I can go to Walmart and get them because they were shipped from freaking Africa or whatever, wherever they're shipped from. Oh yeah, I can have a watermelon in January. That's fine. No, don't live like that. You're getting crappy quality food just because, and it's the same thing with other things. Like, that's the kind of the macro version of the micro version of us, like staying the same temperature all the time. Your house always set it to 72 degrees or 68 degrees, whatever you set it at, and just living like that all the time and staying inside. We're not meant for that. That's not what our bodies are meant for. So that's the end of my rant, kind of. I don't know. Bottom line, Too Long Didn't Read is basically pay attention to what's naturally happening and what the world around you is doing at any particular season or any given time, and try to align yourself and your lifestyle with that as much as possible, right? Rant not over, rant back on. Perfect example. Women out there, women, you are built differently than men. You have a cycle that is monthly, right? Follows like a lunar phase and whatever. So you've got your new moon and your full moon and your waxing and your waning and your yada, yada, yada. Shoot, I was supposed to take that exit. Anyway, so you should be eating a certain way based on what time in your cycle you're at, right? So when you're on your thing that nobody wants to talk about because it's disgusting and gross and you should be ashamed of it, I'm just messing. Just keep it nice and discreet, please. You've been doing a good job thus far if you're a normal woman, so keep on doing what you're doing. But you should be eating a certain way based on what your body is doing. Your body needs more nutrients at this point in your cycle than more of these nutrients at this point in your cycle. And then at this point in your cycle, it needs more of these other nutrients, right? So you should be following that and eating accordingly so that you have what you need and so that you're as healthy as possible. You are aligning yourself and your lifestyle and your choices and your actions with nature, right? God designed, is that the right word? Designed nature a certain way to reflect Him and His ways, right? So if one good litmus test or a rule of thumb is that if you are in general, if you're aligning your ways with the ways of nature in whatever capacity, in whatever way that you can apply that, then you're probably doing pretty good, right? You're probably doing better than the person who is just living based on their comfort or based on what they want or constantly fulfilling their low impulse control desires, right? So the person who is like, I want to watch TV, right? And I just copied off of Sam Hyde. I'm trying to be more original. So don't knock me for that. At least I acknowledged it. But the person who's like, who just feels a whim and follows that whim regardless and just like, well, I don't have that much money, but I want to go out to eat. I really want to. And then they just do that and they act that way. That is death, right? That's you get it. Rant over. I'm done. I'm not going to talk your ear off anymore. If you'd like to see more of these rants, smash that like button. Obliterate that like button. And, you know, follow me, comment, post a comment in the subscriptions. And, thank you for your time.